We're better. All right. So, sorry for my voice. I've been unwell. Sinus and ear infection on both sides. Throat infection, just this whole area just got screwed up. I've been on antibiotics for 4 days now out of 10. And actually I can talk at all now. I couldn't before, so that's good. But I've been having a lot of really, not disjointed thoughts, but these are thoughts that I feel like are better followed if I'm speaking, right? We'll see. From the top, I've been contemplating the nature of healing. I'm a registered nurse. I do home care these days, so I'm seeing a lot of people's wounds, surgical, pressure, traumatic, etc. And my whole career, I've done dressing changes, right? Like from the nursing homes to the city jails to Chase Brexton to the hospital, like less so when I was in the health department because I was really just, the skin stuff was never like an infection like that. It was syphilis. You don't need to do a dressing change on a syphilis rash. Anyways, so I've been thinking about the nature of healing, especially in the context of remembering everything about my life. And like, things are still kind of like bubbling up in it's like I'm cataloging everything again. Like, I know I remember everything. I can kind of wander if I think long enough. I'll probably be able to categorize everything, but I am a 34-year-old woman. I have shit to do. So we are just kind of walking through a little disjointed in that. But I have remembered everything, and I am... There's no... They are who they are. And there's only so long I can beg someone to do the right thing before I have to give up. So with all of these decades of evidence in which I can actually vocalize a sequence of events as well as an emotion, it's significant. I'm mostly disappointed in Jeffrey. Hazel remains an aching miasma of pain and grief, confusion. And I think it always will be. I think there will be no understanding her because we are so fundamentally different. I will be incapable of ever making sense of her actions. So I just got to give up on that. But Jeffrey, I was hoping he was just not paying attention, a little lazy, a little, floating on inertia without thinking you have to QC your fucking wife, right? Like, I can understand that. But I am seeing how little I matter. And I'm remembering how little I have always mattered in every instance of family conflict. My needs, my sister's needs. Because even if we ignore my accusations of explicit violence or abuse, right? Everyone is aware of my anger issues as a youth. Everyone is perfectly aware of the violence that I enacted upon my sister. I'm not denying it. They certainly aren't as fucking denying it at all. So why did they not remove me from the house or get me help? Why did Julia stay in an environment where we all knew she was at risk because of my temper? And I wasn't getting any help. And she wasn't being protected from me. Because even if we ignore the traumas that I am saying happen, because they fucking happened, but like, we just separate all that, and just we still have just an angry fucking kid beating on and hurting their little sister. Why is this kid not getting help? Why is this kid not removed from the sister? What is going on? And the result is we don't fucking matter to them. We've never mattered to my parents. That is the only conclusion that you can come to when you lay the facts out on a table, is that my sister and I have never fucking mattered. That they couldn't be bothered to protect or take care of their children. That it was inconvenient to do their due diligence, so they just didn't do it, right? Because they're fine. So we'll be fine. Hazel, the abuse you suffered should never have been normalized, for one, and that's what you did. That is what you did. You normalized your experiences growing up, and you should never have fucking done that. I don't know why you did. I don't really care at this point, because as I have said to Jeffrey in many occasion, there is no adequate excuse for what was done to me, because I am a 34-year-old adult woman, right? And even if we take away 10 years of my age, what was I like at 24? I had been in therapy for 4 years at that point. I was actively taking medications. I was engaged in care. I was trying to heal from whatever was within me that made me so angry, made me so volatile. I don't want to be volatile. What were they doing? Well, my mom had me at 25, and had my sister at 27. At 27, I was still engaged in care for 7 years. I knew that my anger was a problem, and I sought care. I also sought care for many other things, but I did not deny I had an anger issue and an impulsivity issue. And the anger was from trauma, and the impulsivity was from the ADHD and autism. So like, we had to figure that shit out appropriately, which was only in the last 4 years. I even allowing for kind of a trail, right, of life choices. When you compare 25-year-old Hazel to 25-year-old Melody, or 27-year-old Hazel, or 27-year-old Jeff, or 29-year-old Jeff, Julia's birth. When I think about what I was doing for my health, my family at those ages, I knew that I got out of my childhood understanding that violence against children was inherently wrong, that no child deserves to be beaten, and that leaving marks on your kids is kind of, illegal, as well as fucked up, unethical, and makes you a shitty person. So, like, I, again, don't understand why that was beyond Hazel and Jeffrey, right? Like, how did you guys get out of that childhood thinking it was cool? Like, don't you both have near-death experiences in your childhood? I wasn't the only one. You're on to try that again. I think you should. You should try that again. The lack of empathy is stunning. It's like instead of going, my parents hurt me profoundly, and the conclusion coming from that being, and that is wrong, because parents should be loving and a safe place for their children, and I do not feel safe around my parents. You're a failure. You're a failure. I am trying to become the safest version of myself I can be, and I've been working on that since before my majority, okay? Like, I was reading the DSM-4 in high school. I wanted to understand what the fuck was wrong with me. I was taking, like, all these different surveys for depression, anxiety, ADHD, even DID. I did everything, PTSD. I was doing all of them, including, like shit that I knew I didn't have, like OCD, right? Just to keep it balanced, right? Like, so I knew what it looked like when you don't have symptoms, you know? Thinking critically internally to understand what exactly is frying wrong in the headspace. And yeah, I did it toxically sometimes. I had trouble with food and with sharp objects, and what teenage girl in the 2000s didn't? Maybe people who had loving parents, but not girls like me. No. It was kind of like one of those open secrets. We all made ourselves sick one way or another, or hurt ourselves one way or another. Because sometimes that's the only way that we can forgive ourselves, is by making ourselves hurt, because that's when we knew it was over with our parents, whoever was the one beating us. The pain meant it was done. She beat me, she got it out of her system. She hit me, she got it out of her system. When she stops, when she walks away, it's over. The tension has been reduced. I can catch my breath again. The landmines are diffused. And I was very open about how I viewed life as a war, because it really did feel like I wasn't just walking on eggshells. I felt like I was tiptoeing around a minefield and being told to hurry up. Like, that's how it felt. It genuinely felt like that emotionally, you know? So I'm thinking about wounds and physical wounds. And poorly cared for wounds can tunnel under the skin. The top of the flesh can look very healthy, can still have active blood flow, but underneath, a tunnel is forming. Tissue is dying and being turned into gross shit. Abscesses, pus. It joins shit together. Those pus pockets are tunnels, okay? That's tunneling. And they happen and are very hard to keep a control of if you're not actually, like, digging into what looks like healthy tissue. And that's the thing. Like, I've been neglected emotionally, mentally, all of it, medically, educationally, physically, probably too. I mean, we're kind of focusing on the CSA of it all, but we'll figure it out. But that's what was going on. I was neglected. So my emotional injuries were allowed to sit and fester. And it was only a child trying to take care of their own emotional selves with zero help from anybody else, with no understanding of what was normal or what was healthy, what happiness was, and if it was actually a reasonable expectation. I remember in 5th grade, we all had to draw self-portraits, and on the bottom, it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I wrote happy. Couldn't have been more than 10. I was 10 years old. And under my self-portrait, I wrote, I want to be happy when I grow up. And if that isn't the biggest fucking call for help, if anyone's ever seen it, nobody did anything. Oh, Miss Sargent definitely pointed it out to my mother. And my mother threw a shit fit. Got me no help. Said everyone just wants something wrong with the parents. Everyone's always accusing the parents of abuse. There's nothing wrong, everything's normal. Everyone just wants to control everybody else. They don't understand. And this was as young as kindergarten that some of the stuff was being said to me, around me. And I was still seeing inequality and unfairness in the home between me and my sister. We are 17 months and 12 days apart in age. So it's very easy for me as a kid at some event at a certain age mileage, right? To be expected to be emotionally controlled, physically restrained, things kids aren't, especially young ones. I was expected to be a tiny adult. And then 17 months later, my sister can be a toddler. What the fuck? Or I can be an emotional teenager who's going through some friendship difficulties. I wasn't. They didn't care about me or my friends, or if I was upset, she was like, you have loser friends, you should just not hang out with them anyways. Your friends are all garbage. I don't know. Or another thing she likes to say is, that girl is too nice to you. She must be trying to do something. She was always trying to separate me away from people. She was always accusing people of negativity that wasn't there when she's the negative one. Obviously, it's, smoke and mirrors of it all. Controlling who I hung out with, or how comfortable I'd feel leaving her in a rage. I was never comfortable doing that. Hazel in a rage means you don't fucking leave because you don't know what you're coming back to. I knew that. That was obvious because I could see the insanity that happens if I allowed her to leave and lock herself into her bedroom or the laundry room. No, I do not. If she started getting angry at me, I did not. And she looked like she was gonna lock herself away. I started instigating. Because the anger at that point from instigating would be so much less painful than the violence for letting her stew. Everyone asked me, why? Why, Melody? Why are you always instigating? And I didn't answer them because it should be fucking obvious. Because getting it over with now, making her hit me now, was way less painful than later. I never ran from a spanking after a certain point because I knew if you run, it hurts more. If you wait, it hurts more. Get it over with now. No one asked me, of course. No one asked me why I was always instigating it, actually. Not genuinely. They just, called me an instigator and was like, your poor mother, she has so much to do with you, yada, 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 yada. And I'm realizing a few things about my mind as well recently that are very upsetting. So I thought for the last few years, memory shitty until, I was feeling for the last few years that I had a type of aphantasia, which is basically an inability to imagine something. Not visually, not spatially, but sometimes auditorily with voices. I didn't hear my own inner voice. Like if I'm thinking in my head, silence. I couldn't hear it. I couldn't access it. All external monologues. The trauma fractured my consciousness, and instead of letting myself put two and two together and realize that there's more me's in me than just one, it would not have allowed me to escape Hazel. If I was that openly symptomatic, I would not have ever been able to escape Hazel. And it does put me in a catch-22 right now because I'm wondering, fuck, how disabled am I, right? Like, I feel like this is just scratching the surface. Now that all these memories are coming out, like, I'm gonna have to go to all sorts of fucking shit just to get looked at internally. Like, I have some memories. I have sense memories. I don't know the frequency. And I'm not really digging deep. You know, I feel like digging deep into that question should be done when I'm hospitalized already. I don't know what to say. Because, like, the numbers will make it hurt worse. And I know it will. And it already hurts horrible. It hurts fucking awful. Julia insisted that I've never apologized to her and I've never taken accountability for my actions with her, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Many times I told Julia, apologized to Julia in tears. I'm so sorry for what I've done to you. And I meant it. I am sorry for what I've done to her. It horrifies me to this day. I still cry about it at night. Like, if I let it just sit, if I'm just like sitting with how I hurt my little sister, I am sorry. I am. That's the thing. I am so sorry and so regretful. But I was pleading with her to understand that I was just another little kid in pain. I was pleading with her to understand that I was that way because of what Hazel had done to me. And other things now that I know. But at the time, all I remembered was really amorphous violence and humiliation and degradation from Hazel. I couldn't even remember specific incidents. I just know, avoid Hazel. She makes you feel like this. Avoid Hazel. She makes you feel degraded, insignificant, unimportant, like garbage. And that's what I've been doing. Without realizing why. And for a while there, I was forcing myself actually to be around them. I really was. I was forcing myself to be around them because I didn't have any concrete memories anymore of what was happening in my adolescence. And without those concrete memories, I was believing that I was delusional and there was something like schizophrenically wrong with me. I'm not schizophrenic, but I do have a fractured dissociative identity disorder type situation going on, and I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I heard so many voices today and so many different accents, and they're all me. They're all me. It's like the fucking driver's seat and the window to the passenger seat just fucking went down, and oh no, it's a train now. I see why the train of thought thing was like that in Brendan Fraser's superhero TV show. Anyways. I hate it. 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 I did not want to be right. I did not want to be actually telling the truth. I put myself on so many antipsychotics. Put myself on like I could write myself a script. You know what I mean? I asked for them genuinely thinking that I was paranoid for no reason, that I had psychosis. Baby, it's not paranoia, it's trauma. It's not psychosis, it's PTSD. the impulsivity and the intensity of emotion is from the PTSD, but mostly the impulsivity and how intense it can get is from the ADHD and autism that Hazel never got me evaluated for. She literally was told by so many early educational specialists. So, my kindergarten teacher and my first grade, second and third was the same lady. Fuck if I know about fourth grade, fifth grade. And fifth grade's significant because I know for a fact she also told mom to get me evaluated for autism because actually autism and ADHD can be comorbid. Like, Mrs. Sargent was like on the ball back then. That was like in 2000, right? Like 99, 2000. You go, Miss Sargent. Sorry my mom was a bitch, but like, thank you for advocating for me and I wish it worked, right? Like, fuck, I wish it worked. Bet she called CPS for me a bunch of times too. Good. I wonder if I can clip that out and patch it all together. I got too emphatic. Oh, lordy. Melody. Go on. Stop being a bitch. Little cunt. Alright, I'll just hold it for a bit. Well, it was already sideways. So yeah, I'm just like, thanks, Mrs. Sargent of Jessup Elementary. Sorry my mom was a raging cunt. Sorry that she got so furious at you that you had to avoid me after she got pissed off. That really hurt. And I understand now as an adult, but as a little girl, like, that really hurt. And it wasn't fair. But I forgive you. I forgive you. You're fine. It was a complex situation, and I was being victimized in so many ways. I really hope somebody called for me. I wish, because, like, I wish I could find out, like, can I call, like, fucking Department of Child Services and be like, hey, between the years of 95 and 2008, which is the year I turned 18, in November of that year, any CPS calls for a Lopez family around a Melody, That's what I want to know. Will I get that? I don't know. I'm gonna check the time real quick. Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'll feed you in a second, Bubba. I gotta finish a thought. Thank you. So, a lot of what was happening in the home, my violence, my rages, my impulsivities, my crazy mood swings, quote unquote, they were symptoms of unmanaged, untreated autism and ADHD that was apparently so fucking classically like presenting, like boy-like, that a teacher's suggested several times that mom get me evaluated. Like, can you imagine how ADHD a little girl has to be for teachers to tell her to get me evaluated in fucking 1990 goddamn 5? Like, that's really fucking ADHD. And then ADHD and autism in fucking, like, what was that? 2000? Jesus. Like, it wasn't a secret. It was shining from every pore of me. But instead of getting me help, she called everyone else a liar. She called everyone else assuming shit. She denied me things that would have helped me in school and in life that I didn't have to learn the hard way or through trial and error because of her pride. A parent's pride is deadly. The fact that I am alive today is a miracle. the ways and attempts that I have made, the lowness with my own emotions that I've experienced over time. I'm having a hard time resting. It's too intense. I don't know what to do with myself. I just sit and just like, fuck, that was my life. I am sorry for what I did to Julia, but I'm not sorry for hurting the Julia that believed Hazel. That was war. It really was for me because I was fighting for my life. Every moment of every day I forced myself around them. I was fighting for my life and they didn't even know it. They didn't even notice. But it was me fighting for my life every goddamn day. Alone. Very openly, but very much ignored. I don't know why I've been abandoned the way I've been. I don't know. But I do know that I am worth more than their lies. That my truth is the truth, is the factual truth. I was always a painstaking historian, and I never commit to things I'm not certain of. I always make a point of saying that whenever I say something is certainly something, right? Like I never say I'm certain unless I'm actually certain. I refuse to be certain, to lie to people like that. I want to be realistic. And Hazel wanted a fantasy where she was Miss Perfect Mother with zero effort. And actually a lot of damage. If Hazel learned from her mistakes, the favoritism wouldn't have persisted from toddlerhood into high school. Because I don't think I've said this on camera as much, but the fact that Hazel let Julia have mental health days in my sister's junior and senior year of high school is so fucking ridiculous, because she's found I don't know how many suicide notes in those 2 years. That's right, she found suicide notes. She went through my diaries so many times. There were so many notes and so many of them. And they'd be opened up and folded together wrong. She knew every single time I was suicidal. She knew every new note. She saw them. She read them and did nothing. I always knew that. That was why I hated her reading my diaries, because God, I don't get any privacy and you don't give a shit about me and you're punishing me? What the fuck do you think I'm gonna do? Not be angry? Why did I have to be the one with the most sense when I was the child? Can someone in that group please tell me why I had to be the one with the sense when I was the child? Okay? Okay.